Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wednesday Ramblings. Now, as you may know, I took last week off with both Wednesday Ramblings and Fall Guys Fridays, but hopefully I'm going to be back into routine now. I'm Ravioli, for those who don't know, though it is the name of this channel, so you should probably know that if you're watching this. So today I want to talk about games. If you've been watching my channel, obviously you've figured out I love games. I play Fall Guys quite a bit. But those aren't the only kind of games I love. I also like board games. I've always been someone who can entertain himself, so even as a child, I would play games by myself. Board games, I'd control all the players. I would just handle all the movements myself. And I still do that today. It's called solo board gaming. Who knew it wasn't just someone being crazy? That's what I always thought when I was a kid. But no, I love to solo board game. There are some games that are specifically for solo games. Many games have solo variants. Some of the games that I'm playing today do not have any kind of solo variant, but I'm going to talk about them. But these are 4 games that I've recently purchased in the last few months that I wish to talk about. The first game is called The Night Cage. Now, The Night Cage is a cooperative game. That means that everyone is playing to work together. So the goal of the Night Cage is for every player to gain one of presumably 4 keys. It can go up to 5, but usually there's going to be 4 players every game. So the object is for everyone to gain a key and then meet at the gate before time runs out. Now, the premise of the Night Cage is that every player is lost in a dark labyrinth. You can only see the spots around you. When you move from one tile to another, the tiles behind you will fade away, and if you turn around and go back, they may be completely different. Along the way, there are monsters who are going to try to snuff out your candles. If you are without a candle, your vision is even worse. You are forced to move every turn, not knowing what you're going to stumble across. So keeping your candle lit is very important so that you can try to avoid the evil monsters that roam around. Now, this game can play anywhere from 1 to 5 players. Now, when it is 1 to 4 players, there are always going to be 4 meeples on board. For those that don't know, meeples are the basically little wooden pieces that mark who you are. So if you're playing by yourself, you're going to control all 4 meeples. If you're playing with 2 players, everyone will control 2 different colored meeples. If you're playing 4-player, everyone will have their own meeple. And if you're playing 3-player, what happens is each person has their own meeple, and then the 4th meeple is controlled randomly. The first time it activates, one player controls it. The next time, someone else. If you're playing 5-player, the board is slightly bigger. The number of tiles placed inside are different. But the premise is still the same. Everyone gain a key, get to the gates. But there are multiple ways to lose the game. If you run out of tiles, you enter final flickers, in which case the map starts growing darker and darker as your flame begins to extinguish. If at any point you fall into a hole during final flickers, you're automatically eliminated. Because normally when you fall into a pit, you will, on your next turn, you will land on a space in your row or column. You'll draw a tile. But during final flickers, when there are no tiles, there's no way to do that. So basically, you are just falling for eternity. Another way to lose the game is if all of the keys or gates disappear before everyone gains a key and gathers on the same gate key. That should be noted. There's, I believe, 4 gate keys, or gate tiles, and to win, everyone has to gain a key and meet on the same one. But if all the keys and or the gate tiles disappear before a player is able to, before everyone gets a key and gathers there, that's another losing condition. Now, another game I wish to talk about is Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. For those who are familiar with Mysterium, the premise is very similar. One player is going to be a silent clue giver while everyone else is working together to figure out exactly what the clues are. Now, the game takes place over the course of 4 days. The clue giver will hide behind a screen, and they will have the answer to that everyone needs to solve. Each location will have at least one one character there, as well as a personality trait. And so the clue giver is going to be drawing cards, and he is going to place those cards in order to try to get everyone to figure out what person is in which location and what that person's key personality trait is. Now, the players do have 4 special abilities to help them out. But like I said, the game takes place over 4 rounds. If at any point everyone is able to get all of the answers correct, they automatically win, unless there is a murderer involved. Now, in Rear Window, it is possible that one of the people in the windows is a murderer, in which case the clue giver is trying to be deceptive. And so the players also have to figure out, can they trust the clue giver? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, can't the clue giver just lie about everything, making it impossible for the players to win? No, he can't. In order to win, the clue giver, if there's a murderer, has to still give good enough clues to everyone so that they can get at least 6 of the answers correct. So there's a lot of mind bullshittery going on in that case. And you don't know if the clue giver is being truthful or not. Now, if there is a murder, you can only guess murder on the 4th day, which means you can't win on the first 3 days, which is possible under most circumstances. But this is another cooperative game, albeit with the fact that the clue giver can be a traitor. Another game I want to talk about, the next 2 games actually, are not cooperative. One does not have a solo mode, and that one is Wonderland's War. This is a huge game, very heavy. Like, you could knock someone out with this. So, there's a pretty big board and divided into 6 different sections. 5 of the sections are areas where you will battle it out. But there's also a big tea party going on. Now, this game takes place over 3 rounds. Each round is broken up into a tea party phase and then a battle phase. In the tea party phase, players will move around the tea party, gathering various either recruits to their army, special abilities, different things. There is, after the tea party phase, you will then move into the battle phase. During the tea party phase, you more than likely put some of your sources in various areas of the board, and if you have control of that area at the end of the round, you will gain a certain amount of points. So, every player plays one of 5 characters from Alice in Wonderland. There's Alice the Jabberwock, the Mad Hatter, the Queen of Hearts, and who am I forgetting? Oh, the Cheshire Cat. Each has different abilities, and each plays slightly different if you're only playing 2-player mode. But the main part of the game is playing 3 to 5 players. So every round you'll be just unlocking and gaining recruits in order to have the most points to win at the end of the game. One interesting bit about this game is one of my buddies is actually a playtester who is listed in the rulebooks. He is one of the faction playtesters. So, awesome job, Mike. I love this game. The final game I'm going to talk about is one I had been thinking about getting for a while, but never bit the bullet on until a friend of mine got it. I played it and I loved it. That game is Ark Nova. Now, Ark Nova is very reminiscent of terraforming Mars in many of its elements. You are placing tiles on a board. You're playing cards which have all sorts of different symbols that symbolize different things on them. In Ark Nova, most of your animals will come from a specific continent and be a specific type of animal, such as an herbivore, a predator, a reptile, a bird, stuff like that. So you're building your own zoo, and basically the object is to have the most points at the end of the game. The game has a different in-game mechanic than mini games. Unlike Wonderland's War, which has a fixed ending, Ark Nova only ends when two of your score trackers wind up meeting. That will trigger the end of the game. So sometimes you might want to go slow and just build a powerful engine before hitting points. Other times you might see, I'm not doing great, but I'm actually doing better than everyone else. So you might want to rush to the end game before they can start scoring maximum points. Now there are multiple cards in this. In addition to the animals that you place into your zoo, there's also sponsor cards, which enable you to gain specific abilities, who also usually, or will frequently, will grant you points at the end of the game. There are there's secret goals that you get at the start of the game, as well as a few other goals that you can earn, which will grant you conservation points, which are the big points in the game. It's just a lot of fun, but this is a heavy game. A lot of casual players are not going to understand this one. Well, everyone, that's it for this week's episode of Wednesday Rambling. All four of these games, like I said, are games that I've recently purchased and enjoy deeply and wanted to share with you. I hope this was of interest to you and that you will check out each of these games in time. I also hope that you will like and subscribe and tune in for the next episode. Well, everyone, I'm Robbie O'Leaf, and I am going to Robbie O'Leaf.